Part 122. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1211. Chapter 1211. Xia Ying's face is very good at fighting. During this period, the movie The Great Doctor was released. Because of Xia Ran's incident, this movie was shot again by another person. Now, with much anticipation, it has finally been released to the public. On the first day of its premiere, it earned 100 million at the box office and received rave reviews online. Although many people initially went there for the names Xia Ying and Jun Chennai, they later discovered that the content of the movie was equally exciting. Let's not talk about Jun Chennai's acting skills. After all, he is recognized as an international actor. The performance in this movie is also remarkable. The male protagonist in it is a cold-blooded and decisive person with facial paralysis. It is not easy to play a facial paralysis person well. Although he is facial paralysis, he is also a bloodthirsty, cold, and arrogant person. How can he express the special character of the character without using too much facial expressions? This is where acting skills are most tested. The same is true for Xia Ying's character. The heroine's transformation process, from an innocent girl, to a darkened character, and finally to a mother-in-law, letting go of everything. They are completely different people, so it tests your ability to grasp the characters. Xia Ying was originally just a musician who sang and composed music. The outside world was not very optimistic about her taking this role at first, and ridicule was everywhere. But Xia Ying proved herself with her own strength and slapped those who had doubted her acting skills before. Naturally, it also surprised many people. Related topics such as Xia Ying's acting skills, Xia Ying's costumes, and Xia Ying's face were also on Weibo's hot search list, and people discussed them enthusiastically. Oh my god, Xia Ying's face is really stunning. The ancient style is so beautiful. As graceful as a startling giant, as graceful as a swimming dragon. Are you talking about Xia Ying? Same upstairs, Xia Ying's costume is so amazing. As soon as it came out, the whole cinema said wow. With both looks and acting skills, Xia Ying is a treasure. There are really few emerging actors with such acting skills in the entertainment industry now. I look forward to more works. Although Xia Ying said she would not join the entertainment industry, I am still looking forward to her continuing to make movies. My goddess Xia Ying is too busy and is being pushed to release new songs. Now you want her to come out to film a movie. You took my Xia Ying away and touched her head. I feel heartbroken. This movie is the last candy for CP fans of narrow couples. Blow up my young master Jun and Xia Ying. Of course, for people like Jun Chennai who usually make hot searches whenever they have nothing to do, this time the movie was released, it has always been on the hot search list. Somehow, the trend on the internet later became which girl Jun Chennai would take advantage of in the future. Which girl would be so lucky to marry him? Since Mr. Jun has been in the industry for so many years, the only scandal he has had is with Xia Ying. Ification, Mr. Jun is still young. He is mine, he is waiting for me to grow up, don't even think about it. BAA. Is the topic of Hong Kong really serious? Mr. Jun, will still have some time to turn 22. You are simply devils. Jun Chennai outside the screen. This generation of netizens is really boring. Jun Chennai closed his phone and sent a congratulatory message to Xia Ying. Xia Ying replied congratulations. Jun Chennai also received an invitation to the engagement ceremony of Hanzija and Muni Ankai, and he found it interesting when he thought of this couple. I never thought that people who were once inseparable would actually come together. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1212. Chapter 1212. The Strongest Ex-Girlfriend in History. After the engagement ceremony of Hanzija and Muni Ankai was confirmed, the two had not seen each other for a week. According to Muniankai, they wanted to keep things fresh, so they should not meet again for a period of time before the engagement. Hanzaja didn't think it was anything until Hanzaja accidentally checked Weibo and accidentally discovered the Weibo of his ex-girlfriend in the same city. My ex-boyfriend is getting engaged and he invited me to attend. Do you think I should go? Hanzaja's eyelids twitched. When did he invite her? The comment below is, go, why not go, remember to take a sharper knife. Is it that guy Hanzaja? I also received an invitation from him. Didn't this guy invite all his ex-girlfriends? A whole army of ex-girlfriends. Interesting. I would like to see what the woman who can bring Hanzaja, the prodigal son, is capable of. Then suddenly several ex-girlfriends came downstairs. After Hanzaja was stunned for a while, he quickly realized that Muniankai, the girl, went behind his back and invited all the girlfriends he had dated when he was studying. What on earth does that girl want to do? Show off? Or show off your power? Hanzaja didn't understand. He had never been able to guess the girl's psychological activities. But one thing Hanzaja is sure of is that none of the women in the group can come, especially the woman named Shang Guanqinyi. That was the most difficult girlfriend among all the girlfriends Hanzaja had ever dated. She was a girl that Hanzaja dated in high school. At first, she made a bet with one of his brothers and chased her for fun. Who knew that after catching her, it was like being stuck to Maltose, and no matter how hard she tried to break free, she couldn't break free. Opened. Hanzaja tried every means to get rid of that woman, and finally told Shang Guanqinyi that he had sexual dysfunction. The girl slowly faded out of Hanzaja's sight. However, Hanzaja felt that if she appeared again and saw that he was engaged to another woman, she would definitely make a fuss at the wedding scene. When she was with Hanzaja, Shang Guanqinyi confessed to Hanzaja every day, saying how much she liked him and so on. Hanzaja was also annoyed to death by her. But, to be honest, that girl really likes him. It's also his fault that he was a scumbag at that time and didn't have true feelings when he chased her. After he chased her, she loved him to death, but he got tired of it within a few days and just wanted to end it with her as soon as possible. There is a series of things that follow. Hanzaja found Shang Guanqinyi's Weibo and looked at the recent photos she posted. After not seeing each other for a while, she was more mature and beautiful, but judging from the tone of her Weibo posts and replies to other people's Weibo, her personality had not changed at all. I still like to have a little temper. This is the most remarkable point. Her latest Weibo post is, engagement, ah. Although he had few words, Hanzaja seemed to have felt the oppression from Shang Guanqinyi. Not long after Hanzaja broke up with her, she went to study abroad. She said she couldn't stand the feeling of meeting Hanzaja often in the same school but having to pretend to be strangers. She naturally did not expect that one day she would receive an engagement invitation from Hanzaja. Since she was invited, she must go. Hanzaja knew her well and naturally guessed this level, so after seeing the Weibo post, he couldn't wait to call Muniankai. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1213. Chapter 1213 The Strongest Ex-Girlfriend in History. Hanzaja called several times, but Muniankai didn't answer any of them. Not only did she not answer the call, but Muniankai on the other end complained angrily when she saw her cell phone ringing non-stop. We agreed not to contact each other during this period. Why is this guy Hanzaja so silent? Can't hold back your anger. The servant on the side heard Muniankai's words and covered his mouth and smiled. The young lady and our future uncle have a deep relationship. We haven't contacted each other for so long. My uncle must miss you, the young lady. Humph, the more he behaves like this, the more I ignore him. Muniankai smiled sweetly, and immediately put her mobile phone into silent mode. No matter how many times Hanzija called, she couldn't hear it, so she naturally ignored it. Hanzija was already frantic with anxiety, because a minute ago, Shang Guanqinyi updated her Weibo and she had already boarded a plane to China. The Buddha he had finally driven away, no, it was a devil, was summoned by his careless and stupid wife. Hanzija was hopeless at the moment and just wanted to dig a hole in the ground to hide himself. He didn't want to see Shang Guanqinyi again. Muniankai didn't answer his call, so Hanzija drove directly to Mu's house. It was not convenient for him to communicate with Shang Guanqinyi, so he gave this task to Muniankai. Moreover, Muniankai had found the person, so she should be driven away. Muniankai was still looking at the wedding dresses in fashion magazines when the servant came over to inform Hanzija. Muniankai raised her head and frowned. If you didn't answer his call, he actually came to the door. Muniankai curled her lips and said, "Tell him I won't see him." After the servant said, "Yes," the next second Hanzija rushed straight to Muniankai. His face was full of panic, he was breathing heavily, and looked like he was speechless in panic. Muniankai was stunned for a moment when she saw Hanzija like this. She put away the magazine in her hand and looked at Hanzija. "What are you doing here? Didn't you say we won't meet each other during this period?" Hanzija waved his hands to the servants, and they withdrew respectfully. Muniankai looked at Hanzija doubtfully. "What do you want to do?" Hanzija closed the door, looked at Muniankai, and said in one breath, "Call me immediately and inform my ex-girlfriends that they are not allowed to come over." After Hanzija finished speaking, Muniankai narrowed her eyes, looked at Hanzija carefully, and stood up. "How did you know? I obviously didn't tell you this matter. Through what channels did you go new? Don't worry about it. Anyway, what you're doing is inappropriate, cancel it immediately and don't allow them to come over to the engagement party." Hanzija's face was full of seriousness, leaving no room for doubt. Muniankai snorted, as if she was deliberately angry with him. "I won't. I have already sent out the invitation letters. They all know it. Now I suddenly tell them that they are not allowed to come. What will they do, think? Where should I put my face, Muniankai?" Hanzija was helpless. "This matter is not as simple as you think. Why didn't you tell me that you invited them?" Hanzija felt a little angry. Muniankai also noticed this. "Why do I have to tell you? Can't I give you a surprise?" Hanzija rolled his eyes. It was more of a surprise than a shock. Fortunately, he accidentally found out today, otherwise something might have happened that day. Muniankai felt uncomfortable when she saw Hanzija's expression and attitude. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1214. Chapter 1214 The Strongest Ex-Girlfriend in History. Hanzija, tell me honestly, how did you know about this? Muniankai asked. Are you still in touch with an ex-girlfriend? Did that person tell you? Hanzija frowned. Where are you? Muniankai, can you stop being so imaginative? Then you should explain it clearly to me. Muniankai put her hands on her hips. Since we are already ex-girlfriends and you are engaged, what's wrong with them coming over to support you? And you have so many ex-girlfriends, who knows if any of them are unwilling to do so? I just want them to come over and have a look. You Hanzija is already mine, Muniankai. Regardless of whether they still like you or not, they must stop their unrealistic thoughts and ideas. Do you know that attending your ex-boyfriend's engagement ceremony is a taboo for you girls? Hanzija tried to reason with Muniankai. Muniankai disagreed. What's so taboo? Then if Junchunai gets married someday, will you go? Of course I will go, Muniankai agreed quickly without any hesitation. Hanzija slapped his forehead and said, No, that's not your ex-boyfriend. Muniankai's face suddenly darkened. Hanzaja, don't avoid my questions. How are you the kind of person who thinks about others? Tell me, do you have any problems? Or are you one of your ex-girlfriends? Any special cases? Hanzaja's eyes lit up, and his eyes shone when he looked at Muniankai. God is really wise. His stupid wife's IQ suddenly exceeded the upper limit today. It's really not easy to guess this. Seeing that Hanzaja was about to speak directly, Muniankai suddenly patted Hanzaja on the shoulder with a righteous look. It's okay, you don't have to worry about me. I used to specialize in fighting, and I can fight them all. Past. Hanzaja. He really can't have too much hope for Muniankai. It's not like this. Hanzaja waved his hands, feeling helpless, so he directly told Muniankai about Shangguanqinyi. After listening to Hanzaja's somewhat subjective narration and exaggeration, Muniankai sat in deep contemplation, and Suju couldn't even calm down. Hanzaja looked at Muniankai's expressionless face and looked at her deep look. Finally figured it out? Hanzaja thought so, his heart hanging, waiting for Muniankai to speak. Muniankai rolled her eyes and finally came back to her senses, staring at Hanzaja. Hanzaja met Muniankai's eyes expectantly, and blinked excitedly. How's it going? Do you also think that woman is a disaster? Muniankai nodded. Hanzaja was delighted again. Then do you think she shouldn't come? Muniankai frowned and shook her head. No, she must come. Hanzaja opened his eyes wide, a little confused about Muniankai's logic. They all admitted that she was a scourge. Why did she still need to come? Hanzaja, are you stupid? If she didn't come this time, we would have met somewhere in the future. We were already married by that time. According to my understanding of that kind of woman, she would definitely come to destroy our happiness. So. She said that the long-term pain is worse than the short-term pain. This time we will just let her give up. It will also be a big worry in your heart, right? Hanzaja kept shaking his head and looked at Muniankai helplessly. With a heavy face, he said, no, you think too simply. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1215. Chapter 1215. The strongest ex-girlfriend in history. She is the most persistent person I have ever seen. Hanzaja said such a meaningful sentence. At this moment, the scene from that year still appeared in his mind. Dealing with her back then was tantamount to going through the 99 and 81 hardships of learning from the Western heaven. He finally managed to beat her to death. Muniankai cannot be resurrected like this. Although Muniankai also has a fierce personality and is not easy to provoke, the other party is a more terrifying existence than Muniankai. Hanzaja felt that Muniankai might not be able to do it better than others. Moreover, Hanzaja told a lie at that time. If she came back and asked, Hanzaja felt that he would not be able to come back. This is also a very serious problem. I tried so hard to drive her away back then. If you call her back again, can she ruin your engagement by telling you about it? Hanzaja's eyes were firm and unquestionable. Unexpectedly, Muniankai is a person who knows that there are tigers in the mountains and prefers to go to the tiger mountain. Hanzaja's words were vivid, but inexplicably aroused Muniankai's interest. She really wanted to go to such a powerful ex-girlfriend in history. It will take a while. Really? Such a time bomb, I must defuse it in time. Muniankai crossed her arms and said with a relaxed face, without feeling any pressure at all. Hanzaja's entire face drooped. Don't regret it? Muniankai glanced at Hanzaja. If you hadn't been a romantic person and incurred a lot of debts, would you have been in this mess? I kindly helped you solve your troubles. Why are you still afraid of her? Not a woman. Muniankai just felt that there was nothing to be afraid of, and since such a woman coveted Hanzaja, she had to solve it quickly. If they meet again one day, the woman will not let it go. So Muniankai still felt that it was wise to call back all her ex-girlfriends who had broken up but still missed her in advance, so that they could completely stop thinking about her. Since she was a child, Muniankai has never met anyone she was afraid of. It's just an ex-girlfriend, and she doesn't take it seriously. Hanzija left after saying it's hopeless. No matter what, he must stop it. Shang Guanqinyi cannot appear at the engagement ceremony no matter what. After Hanzija left, Muniankai turned on her phone and posted something in the WeChat group. On the day of the engagement party, I invited all of Hanzija's ex-girlfriends over. Not long after the message was sent out, people began to reply. Owl through by, all ex-girlfriends, what do you want to do? Yezioksun has to work hard to code words, Hanzija's ex-girlfriend can gather a dozen tables to play mahjong, ha ha ha. What a sweet little candy, I seem to smell the smell of war. Muniankai typed again, it is said that there is a most powerful ex-girlfriend inside, and Hanzija said that if she comes, she can ruin the engagement party. By Shang Guanqinyi. Muniankai's eyes lit up and she quickly replied, how do you know? Xia Ying sighed in front of the screen, listen to Hanzija, he is right. Muniankai frowned. They were in the same school in high school. Why didn't she know about Hanzija? Yezioksun has to work hard to code words, well, I can only say that this matter was a big deal in the school at that time. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1216. Chapter 1216, The Strongest Ex-Girlfriend in History. Muniankai was even more puzzled. There was an uproar? Could it be that she is a fake Guanyang Middle School graduate? Xia Ying replied, you used to have eyes on Jun Chennai, so it's normal if you don't know. Muniankai rolled her eyes, but had to admit that what she said made sense. She knew how often Jun Chennai wore each piece of clothing in the past. As long as it was about everything about Jun Chennai, there was nothing Muniankai didn't know. She didn't seem to pay much attention to other people. She paid attention to Xia Ying because she felt that Xia Ying coveted Jun Chennai, so she had to be careful. In other words, Muniankai's life used to revolve around Jun Chennai as the center of the circle. Things outside the circle didn't seem to matter that much. Okay, then you guys should tell me a little bit about the origins of this most powerful ex-girlfriend in history. Xia Ying turned on her voice and vividly described the scene to Muniankai. As we all know, Xia Ying had a short-lived romance with Hanzija before. Of course, that was a historical problem left over from the last life when I didn't have long-sightedness and I woke up in time in this life, and the episode about Shang Guanqinyi happened not long after that. Because before that, everyone in the school knew how much Xia Ying liked Hanzija, although it suddenly changed one day. Of course, this is a story for later. In short, ever since Shang Guanqinyi became Hanzija's girlfriend, Xia Ying has been visited by her every day, either to provide her with ideological education or to warn her to stay away from Hanzija. Although at that time, it was Hanzija who took the initiative to approach Xia Ying again and again. Naturally, it was also because of Xia Menjian's instigation at that time, but Shang Guanqinyi didn't think so. She felt that Xia Ying was the kind of person who still attracted Hanzija after breaking up, so she always came to see her. Not to mention these, Shang Guanqinyi and Hanzija broke up with her not more than a month after they were officially together. To be precise, they were together for about 10 days, and Hanzija spent the remaining days together, trying every possible means to break up with her. While Hanzija was breaking up with her, Shang Guanqinyi found trouble with all the women who were even slightly close to Hanzija. Of course, her definition of intimacy is different from ordinary people. Girls who smile and say a few words are all seducing Hanzija to her. At that time, she almost made Hanzija afraid to let women get close to him. Even Xiamenjian, who had been secretly interacting with Hanzija, was discovered by her. After causing trouble for Xiamenjian, Xiamenjian was afraid that Shang Guanqinyi would expose her plan, so she gave Hanzija an idea. He said that he was congenitally cold, dysfunctional, and had a strong SM tendency, so we would not be happy together in the future. Han 11 also provided the doctor's diagnosis and treatment certificate to ensure the authenticity of the lie. Sure enough, Shang Guanqinyi was frightened. I didn't expect that Hanzija, who looked sunny, was so dark behind his back. Shang Guanqinyi reluctantly left Hanzija. She was afraid that she would see him at school and want to get back together with him, so she later went abroad to study. After listening to Xia Ying's story, Mu Niankai took a breath and said plausibly, "It's true that there are mountains outside the mountains." She originally thought that she had been stalking Jun Chennai enough, but she didn't expect that Hanzija had such a die-hard fan. The key is, why does that girl like Hanzija? Apart from being handsome, having a rich family, and playing football well, although his mouth is not good enough, his actions are warm and he is very good at taking care of others. His smile is particularly attractive with his peach blossom eyes. What other advantages does that guy have? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1217. Chapter 1217, The Strongest Ex-Girlfriend in History. After Xia Ying finished narrating, the group was quiet for a while, until Tanguo silently said, "That woman is so scary." Mu Niankai came back from her thoughts. Mu Niankai sorted out her emotions, put her mind in a slightly disturbed state just now because of Xia Ying's story, and posted in the group, "So what, I will obediently let her give up." There was silence in the group. Mu Niankai seemed to have thought of something again and asked again in the group, "By the way, what method did Hanzija use to persuade her to leave?" When Xia Ying just told the story, she didn't focus on this. She just said that she had tried every method and finally managed to drive her away. Mu Niankai was quite curious as to why such a persistent woman was moved. "I don't know either. You have to ask Hanzija himself about this." "Forget it." Mu Niankai curled her lips and forced herself not to think about this problem. Hanzija had already left, and she had just had a quarrel with him. She didn't want to be the first one to speak. She wants to seek peace. How shameless would that be? Anyway, she is determined to win that Shang Guanqinyi. No matter if she is the reincarnation of Maltos or something, Hanzija is her boyfriend and her fiancé now, and she cannot allow others to care about her. "What the hell, won't you see someone in a few days?" Xia Ying stopped talking, and Ye Xiaoxun sent a private message to Xia Ying. "Sakura, what if they start fighting?" Xia Ying frowned, but the possibility was honestly quite high. Xia Ying sighed, "I must be helping to break up the fight." To be honest, Mu Niankai may not be able to beat Shang Guanqinyi. Leaving aside the fact that Shang Guanqinyi is 1.74 meters taller than Mu Niankai, Xia Ying feels that Shang Guanqinyi's personality is the 2.0 evolution of Mu Niankai. Ye Xiaoxun shook his head, "Okay." As she said that, she didn't know what Mu Niankai's plan was to invite all Hanzija's ex-girlfriends to come over for an engagement. But when he thought that the other party was Mu Niankai, who always acted unconventionally, it seemed as if she had an explanation for everything she did. At night, Hanzija was still hesitating whether to call Shang Guanqinyi to persuade her to leave, and thought of a reason that could deceive her and not let her show up at the engagement scene. But Hanzija held his mobile phone and thought about the dark night from dusk. The night sky was filled with stars, and he couldn't think of a decent reason. Shang Guanqinyi is such a shrewd woman that ordinary reasons cannot fool her at all. What's more, she must be thinking about that day very much now, and she doesn't know what she will do. Hanzija's mobile phone did not have Shang Guanqianyi's number for a long time, and she deleted it immediately when they broke up. Hanzija is like this, he is not sloppy at all. When we are together, I will treat you well in every possible way. When we are no longer together, it is like a different person. He is still a very responsible scumbag. After breaking up, as long as the other party is willing, he has no problem being friends. Of course, the premise is that his ex-girlfriend broke up with him on his own initiative. Let alone being friends, Hanzija didn't dare to appear in front of them again, for fear that they would have a knife hidden in their backs and cut him. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1218. Chapter 1218. Do you miss me? Hanzija got Shang Guanqianyi's phone number from a guy on the football team. At that time, the young man had a crush on her, so he got the phone number from Hanzija, but he didn't expect that Hanzija had already broken up with her. That girl is still obsessed with her, so the boy has not confessed her feelings until now. When Hanzija asked for his phone number, the boy said with a horrified look on his face, "Captain, if you do this, does the captain's wife know?" Hanzija rolled his eyes, knowing that this kid would think wrong, so he spent some time talking to him about the cause and effect, and finally got the phone number. But even if it was time to get the phone number, Hanzija was holding the phone and looking at the string of numbers on the screen, but he couldn't press it. What should I say to make her willingly not come to the engagement party? Hanzija felt that he had never encountered such a daunting moment in his life. He had never racked his brain so much during the college entrance examination, right? Women, are indeed the most complex and troublesome creatures in the world. Hanzija thought this in his mind and fell into deep thought. At this time, his phone vibrated. Hanzija was so startled that he almost dropped the phone to the ground. Hanzija looked at the screen of his mobile phone. When he saw the name, his eyes suddenly widened and he couldn't believe it for a moment. Shang Guanqianyi actually took the initiative to call, saying that Cao was about to arrive, but the problem was, he didn't know what to say yet. What was her purpose for calling at this time? Hanzija thought about it, since he didn't dare to answer the phone. He was scared, he was really scared. The phone rang for a long time and then turned off automatically. Before Hanzija could breathe a sigh of relief, the call came back. Cold sweat began to break out on Hanzija's forehead, as if it was not just a simple phone call, but a reminder from hell. Hanzija held his fingers tremblingly and pressed the answer button. The other party's sweet voice came through the phone. "Hanzija, do you still remember me?" The voice has not changed at all. It sounds soft, cute, and harmless to humans and animals. In fact, she is a little witch. Hanzija wanted to appear as calm as possible, but now he couldn't calm down, so he simply said less to avoid exposing a trace of panic. "Shang Guanqianyi seems to be chewing gum. You can hear the sound of her chewing. Occasionally, she blows a few bubbles, which is very childish. Where are you?" "I have come to China, let's meet." Shang Guanqianyi's words made people confused about the tone, and naturally they didn't know what she was thinking at the moment. "There is no need to meet." Hanzija instinctively refused, then he thought, "Okay, where can we meet?" The person on the other end of the phone chuckled, and then gave an address. "Oh, I see." Hanzija is ready to hang up the phone. Unexpectedly, Shang Guanqianyi asked again, "Hanzija, tell me the truth, do you miss me?" "No." Answered without hesitation. He was indeed honest. He was eager for her to leave at that time, so why would he miss her after she left? His brain is not broken yet. After Hanzija answered, the other end of the phone quickly hung up. Shang Guanqianyi cursed, That behavior just now, didn't you miss her? Why are you panicking if you don't want her to answer the phone?" Why did you agree to meet her if you didn't want her? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1219. Chapter 1219, Live the Way She Likes. Thinking about it this way, Shang Guanqinyi felt that she still classified Hanzija as someone who clearly missed her, but was too arrogant to admit it. Then, Shang Guanqinyi's mood improved inexplicably, and she began to hum a tune and prepare to dress up and go out to meet Hanzija. When she meets her ex-boyfriend, she must be so beautiful that his jaw drops and he regrets breaking up with her. Shang Guanqinyi searched Mu Niankai's Weibo online and went in for a casual stroll. Although when she was studying, she also knew Mu Niankai, the eldest sister of Guanyang at that time, who would bully anyone she saw was unhappy. She was just a little girl, so Shang Guanqinyi never had a good impression of her. Is this Hanzija blind or has his brain damaged? How can he be with such a person? It must be some kind of family marriage. Shang Guanqinyi doesn't believe that someone like Hanzija would like a woman with Mu Niankai's personality. Hanzija's girlfriends were not gentle, beautiful, virtuous, so he was just like that. Mu Niankai is an outlier, and an outlier who is exactly opposite to Hanzija's standards. Therefore, Shang Guanqinyi felt that he must have some difficulties. Hanzija invited her to participate in the engagement ceremony. It was probably a distress signal. Otherwise, why should she attend? No one knows about the relationship between the two of them. And when she left, Shang Guanqinyi told Hanzija to cooperate with the doctor in treating the disease, and she would come back to him. No, the time has come. That woman's family was very powerful, and she must have blackmailed the Han family into something, so Hanzija reluctantly got engaged to her. Well, it must be something, she decided to save Hanzija. Shang Guanqinyi looked at Mu Niankai's Weibo. Compared with when she was studying, the woman seemed to have changed little. She is beautiful, Shang Guanqinyi admits, but she feels that she is still not as beautiful as her. Well, she gets a point. The don't seem to be as big as hers, so she gets another point. Only 1.67 meters tall? She scored 1 point again with 1.74 meters. She wins a point again for being bad-tempered and all that. Shang Guanqinyi held up her mobile phone and compared her and Mu Niankai. After comparing, she was the winner. Suddenly, the woman's self-esteem and vanity were greatly satisfied. After putting down her phone, Shang Guanqinyi went to dress up proudly. As she was leaving the house, Shang Guanqinyi thought of something and followed Mu Niankai's Weibo. She raised her lips, stopped a car, and set off towards the place agreed with Hanzija. When Shang Guanqinyi arrived at the location, Hanzija was already sitting there drinking half a cup of coffee. Shang Guanqinyi's eyes lit up as she thought about the face of the handsome young man in her memory who had bewitched her for so many years, and then looked at the handsome young man in front of her who had become much calmer and became more gentle and jade-like as time went by. No matter what stage she is in, Hanzija is deeply fascinated by her. When she was studying, she was obsessed with those influential figures in school, and Hanzija fit her standards perfectly. Now that people have grown up, Hanzija, a proud, mature and gentle person, happened to be such a person. It is said that he has long since gotten rid of his original lovey-dovey habit. After graduation, he went to work in his own company and was also a professional football player. He still lived the way she liked. Shang Guanqinyi walked towards Hanzija with a face full of joy. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1220. Chapter 1220 I just want to keep pestering you. Shang Guanqinyi smiled sweetly and sat across from Hanzija. Hanzaja just glanced at her lightly, his gaze lingering for a long time. The very cold glance was in sharp contrast to Shang Guanqinyi's enthusiasm. "How long have you been here?" Shang Guanqinyi looked at the menu and ordered a cappuccino. Hanzaja ignored her question and went straight to the point. "I only met you to have a word with you." "What words?" Shang Guanqinyi interrupted Hanzaja's words, holding her chin with her hands, staring at Hanzaja with shining eyes. She was fully expecting that what Hanzaja would say would be what she had just thought about. For example, he still likes her, he was forced to get engaged, they got back together, etc. Shang Guanqinyi thought so, and her heart began to get excited uncontrollably. Hanzaja frowned, not understanding where Shang Guanqinyi's sudden excitement came from. He relaxed his expression and said in one breath, "Don't go to the engagement party." Shang Guanqinyi still stayed in her fantasy and asked with a smile, "Why?" Hanzaja's face turned cold, and he felt that the tone of the person in front of him was very strange. Is Shang Guanqinyi thinking about something again? What kind of tone is this, and who are you acting coquettishly with? Because I don't want you to go, understand? Hanzaja's tone was cold. Shang Guanqinyi's smile gradually froze, and she obviously noticed something was wrong with Hanzaja. Shang Guanqinyi crossed her arms and glared at Hanzaja with a slight pout. "Hanzaja, what do you mean? A qualified ex should act as if he were dead and should no longer interfere with his ex's life, do you understand?" "I don't understand." Shang Guanqinyi became confident. "Hanzaja, you know why I left you in the first place. I told you not to pester you so that you can treat your illness with peace of mind. I will come back when you are cured. You also know this, yes? Now that you are silent and engaged to another girl, what is going on? Are you cured of your illness?" Shang Guanqinyi's aggressive questions made Hanzaja ashamed. 3 lies that cannot be separated from him. If I had known that, I should have hesitated when I lied in the first place. How can he come back now? Miss Shangguan, please understand, we have broken up a long time ago. Do you understand what breaking up means? Why are you pestering me all the time? Hanzaja almost knelt down in front of this ancestor. Why did he want to provoke this Buddha in the first place? Hanzaja, you were the one who chased me at the beginning. If I catch you, you will break up. I have already fallen in love with you, and I will never let you go in this life. Anyway, I don't care, I just want to keep pestering you. Shang Guanqinyi said firmly, if you get engaged, the woman must be me. Hanzaja was so angry that he rolled his eyes. Are you really hopeless and unreasonable? You are also a person who has received Western education. Do you know that love is free? You should break up if you don't like it. Why are you acting like a shrew? Hanzaja was angry for a moment and spoke more harshly, which made Shang Guanqinyi angry. Actually called her a bitch? I do not care. Shang Guanqinyi patted the table, causing everyone around to look at them. Hanzaja awkwardly stretched out a hand to cover his face, so as not to be recognized by acquaintances. Hanzaja, can I still not understand you? You are not a person who likes Muniankai at all. Do you have any difficulties in getting engaged to her? End of this chapter.